Estamos a poucos dias do Futebol Clube Porto, Manchester United, e melhor convidado era impossível. Temos connosco aqui no 00 um muito especial Benni McCarthy, um jogador histórico no Futebol Clube Porto, mas também com uma ligação muito forte ao Manchester United, pois fez parte da equipa técnica de Erik ten Hag nos últimos 2 anos. O Benni é um jogador e uma figura muito querida do universo azul e branco e vai ajudar-nos, obviamente, a projetar este jogo, mas não só. A conversa vai parar certamente a outras latitudes, porque o Benni, acima de tudo, é um excelente conversador e vai-nos contar muito boas histórias. Benni, good morning. How are you over Edinburgh?
Hi, Pedro. Good morning. I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me, first of all. Always a pleasure. And it's always amazing to see that beautiful azul e branco camisola aí detrás de você.
Do you have saudades, as we say in Portugal, about this shirt?
Muito saudades. Ainda lembra sempre as coisas muito bons que eu fiz quando vestia esta camisola. Então, a camisola sempre vive dentro de mim e nunca vou esquecer. E eu considerar a mim português, sul-africano.
It's important to say that Benni speaks very good in Portuguese, but we decided before the interview to have the conversation in English. But sometimes we go to the Portuguese also, no problem. We jump between the languages.
Claro que sim.
Benni, before all, how are you? You are living now in Edinburgh. You have left United in June. What are you doing nowadays?
At the moment now, I'm just doing some television work, commentary on the football, especially with the Premier League TV. But I'm itching to go because for me it's so important that football lives in my blood. So it's very difficult for me not to be involved in football. And talking about football is nice, but I'm someone that wants to
course.
be present. I want to be on the field. I want to be on the pitch with the players and just making them better and that. So yeah, so I'm really hoping to get back into coaching, whether it's in England or if I get an opportunity to coach in Portugal. I would absolutely love that
Of course.
because yeah, Portugal is my adopted country,
Mhm.
and it's the place I really felt at home since I left South Africa when I came to play in
Mhm.
Europe. So yeah, I think Portugal would be my favorite destination if I was to, get an opportunity to manage and coach. I would love to do that in Portugal.
You are fluent in Portuguese. You know very well the Portuguese league, the Portuguese clubs. So it would be easy to adapt to this championship in Portugal.
Yeah, most definitely. Even though like I played for Portugal in Portugal for Porto for many years, and I got to understand the culture. I
Mhm.
got to understand the mentality. So yeah, it's a culture, and that I absolutely love and adore. And I think the quality of football, the technique of the players is incredible. And I think as a manager, as a coach, anyone would be extremely happy to manage in Portugal because you've got so many quality, very good players, and you can succeed as a manager. And hopefully from there on, then you
Mhm.
go maybe move on to manage teams like Porto, um, Manchester United.
Of course.
That is the possibility that managing in Portugal gives you because of the quality of the players that they have in the Portuguese league.
Mhm. How do you define yourself as a manager, Benni? What are your stronger ideas?
I think it's because of my background.
Mhm.
I'm someone that's very tough. I come from humble beginnings, so I know what it is to suffer.
Mhm.
I know what it is to work extremely hard for what you want and when you want to achieve success. So I think those are the kind of values that I like to install in players that you you have to live by what you've been through as a person, and then when you take it onto the football field and then you do it with passion, with with love, and that's when you get the best. You get the best footballer, and you make a really good manager. Because I had a few managers, Portuguese managers, that was passionate and that was driven by what they've been through, and then you see it on in their work when they become managers. Jose Mourinho was a prime example of that. He was the best Portuguese manager, and he lived by that code because he was passionate about, and he brought it out in his players. And when the
Hmm.
players go out, they play with passion, they play with love, they play with pride, and you win 99% of the time because the manager have that passion, and it goes over to the players. So that's the kind of manager I want. I'm a passionate person. I love football, so I want to see the passion from me transferring to my players. And when my players go out, they must enjoy themselves. They must play with always with a smile on their
Hmm.
face, and then success then follows.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Benny. And beside that, in the last 2 seasons, you have worked in Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. You were part of the staff of Erik ten Hag. I imagine that it was a strong experience for you and a very good experience in the last 2 seasons, I imagine.
Yes, no, of course, it was incredible experience, but it was also some difficulties because it's such a very huge team, very big.
Hmm.
When you work, when you're inside the club, that's when you realize how big it is and the pressures that comes with it. So I think on a daily basis, it's been really tough and hard because the club demands success every day, and sometimes the players, they weren't able to give the same back on a regular basis, and then you see it come through in matches, and yeah, and when it's not good results, then the whole world talks about
I
the
imagine, yeah.
struggles at Manchester United. Um but the best thing I can take from my experience there was the relationship that I had with the players
Hmm.
individually. I had fantastic relationship with players. They understood me, I
Hmm.
understood them, and I because I wasn't the manager, I wasn't the manager that
Yep,
gives those kind of messages. So for me, it was difficult because I had to go through the manager to get my message across, and sometimes it wasn't enough, because the manager is the one that has the final decision. And yeah, so at times you couldn't see that passion coming through because the
hmm,
manager was a different personality,
of
different
course.
character to what I was and what some of the other coaches was. So, and I think, yeah, so that was some of the difficulties that the team had, and the players they found. But
Hmm.
yeah, my relationship with Bruno Bruno Fernandes,
Bruno
and
Fernandes.
yeah, um, just so that people know, Bruno deep down in his heart is Portista through and through. He yes. We used to have many conversations. Um, and he used to tell me that when he was young, when he was growing up, his family all supported Porto, and he
Hmm.
loved watching me when I was playing at Porto. So
Of
yeah, but then
course.
unfortunately,
He was a young boy when you were playing here.
yes, yes, yes. So we shared like really good moments, and then in the end, he ended up playing for Boavista, and
Hmm.
then going to Sporting. So that's why, and because Porto let him slip through their hands, that's when he became not such a big fan of Porto anymore, because Porto didn't secure him to play for Porto,
Yes,
and they
yes.
let him go to Boa Vista
Boa
and then
Vista.
to Sporting. So yeah, so of course his alliance is there, but yeah,
But
so
maybe in the
Bruno was
future,
incredible.
Benny, maybe in the future he can achieve that dream with his team of childhood team?
I don't think so. I think Bruno has the capabilities to go and play for Real Madrid. I think
Okay,
Bruno is that special. You know,
elite
everyday work.
elite player.
Yes, yes. He's got, like I said, when I said from where I grew up and how I wanted to be a football player so much, I wanted to succeed. I had to have that passion, but I also had to understand what it means to work hard to achieve success. And you see it, Bruno lives by that code every day.
Mhm.
And not just Bruno, but I think Diogo Dalot
Another
is
portista, another portista.
through and through. Yes, and he was my little son that I kind of looked after, because I knew that when I was playing at Porto, Diogo was in the filial in the
Mhm.
academy, so he knew exactly um, everything about me because he was at Porto at the same time when I was playing at Porto. So it was great to share those stories and give
Of
some
course.
advice to them. So that was incredible. So I think if if the Manchester United players um, could have a little bit of what Bruno and Diogo, because in the trainings you would
Mhm.
think that we are playing matches because they train incredibly focused and they give everything, and the rest and a lot of the other players didn't do the same. So it sometimes it holds the
Yeah,
team back a little bit because the players don't train to their full potential. And then when it comes to matches, you see some players have maximum performance and others have a little bit less.
I understand.
And then
Mhm.
in the end, it doesn't help the team to succeed. But yeah, it was a great achievement, great experience for me. But yeah, and it made me realize that enable for me to be so passionate, and I have to be a manager. I have to coach to to give the players exactly what they need.
You are more comfortable in another role as a manager, the first manager, and not a assistant coach.
Yes, yes, because I think I want to be the mirror image of my players. So I want my players to have the same mentality, the same ambition, the same attitude, the same culture that I grew up in, that I had. You know, training is like a match for me. Like I hate losing when I was a player in training. And people was like, come on, man, it's only training. But that was just my personality, who I was. And then when it comes to match day, they see, poof, then I became even more competitive. And I think that is very healthy for the team. And yeah, so that's what I want to see. And when you are not a manager, when you are not the guy who leads the team, you don't get to give you don't get the players to be how you want them to be. You are just a voice behind the manager.
Mhm.
So the
Of
players
course.
the players want to be they want to see if the manager is conservative, if he's quiet, but you're gonna find that your players in matches, when it becomes difficult, they are also quiet. They don't have that individual quality or leadership to say, come on, guys, let's go, because they see the manager is also like that. But
Of
if
course.
you have a manager like that's firing, when you come in, you are winning 2-0, 3-0 at halftime, and then the manager comes in and he still gets angry. Come on, boys, I need more. We should have been 5-0, not 2-0. That is the kind of manager that gets their players to spur on. And I think the success that Jose Mourinho have
Yep.
is because he was like that. And you see it in his players everywhere he goes. You see that, and yeah, not I don't want to be Jose Mourinho. I want to be Benny McCarthy, but I love just how he
Of
had that
course,
passion and
of course.
that mentality, and I think that's what I want to have.
And what can you tell us about Eric Ten Hag's ideas, Benny? Very different from yours ideas.
No, not different, because I think tactically he's one of the smartest coaches
Mhm.
that I've worked with. I worked as a player and as a coach. He's
Intelligent man.
very intelligent, very intelligent, very detailed, very meticulous on how he works. So the players really, they have everything at their disposal, because he makes them aware of all the situations in matches. But at the end of the day, it's the players that goes out, and have to perform to the level. Then you can see that, oh wow, the manager is actually unbelievable. But when the players don't perform the way you want them to perform, and then yeah, sometimes then the manager gets questioned, you know. But yeah, he's such a very good manager, very intelligent and that. But I think sometimes in modern day football, I think players want to see a little bit more passion coming from the manager. They want to feel that,
Yes.
the manager is with us. He's in the fight with us, not just he's tactically at the top, but then he lacks a little bit of compassion and I think yeah, and that's where I think we are a little bit different. I'm yes, tactically I like to be tactically there, but my biggest strength is to understand the players and to make them play to a level that that you see the passion, that you see the determination, that even though it's a difficult match, but your team is going to win because they just have more desire, they have fight, they have everything, they will do everything to can that to want to win a match. And then at the end of the day, you come off the pitch after 90 minutes, you are happy with your players, you're satisfied because you saw everything that you needed to see that
Hmm.
they give out there on the pitch. So I think that is the difference where I have a bit, I
I
have that
understand.
fire, that hunger, that
Yes.
passion in my belly, in that, you know, and and Eric is more conservative. He gives the players everything they need to, and
Hmm.
then they must go out on the pitch to perform. And if it works, then incredible. If it don't work, then yeah, then the manager becomes under scrutiny, like at the moment
Of
now.
course, of course, of course. But do you think it was not easy for Eric to deal with Cristiano, for example, in your first season at the club?
Yes, yeah, it wasn't easy because obviously Ronaldo, Cristiano is a very big character.
Hmm.
Um, he have personality and he's matured. He's a matured. He wants manager to be matured towards him, and I think somewhere along the lines, yeah, things just didn't work. The manager had his philosophy, he had his ideas, and he didn't see that Cristiano was part of his philosophy and his
Hmm.
ideas. So then in the end, you have clashes because
Yeah,
Cristiano, he he's not happy when he's not playing.
yeah.
He because he gives everything on the training pitch. He trains like I've never seen before.
Hmm.
Even even I was getting jealous because he was um he was only a few years younger than me, but his elite fitness and the way his mind works in the training. He comes to the training very early, like maybe 2 hours before the rest of the players
Hmm.
arrive, and he does all the things that he needs to do to make his body perform,
Hmm.
at the level. So wow, he was probably the most incredible athlete I've ever seen in my life,
Hmm.
you know. And to be like this, not many players will have what it takes to have what Cristiano have. So he was the ultimate professional, but unfortunately. the philosophy from the manager was a little bit different,
Yep.
and I think it caused that there was always clash because the manager wants someone to press from the front, run,
Yep.
and Cristiano is his game was more about the team has to work together,
Mm-hmm.
as a team. But then when we get into certain areas, then we just give the ball to him, let him do his thing. But the tactics was it was everyone do the same work, and then we all attack together, and yeah, and that kind of course that the manager opted for Anthony Martial,
Mm-hmm.
for Rashford to play at number 9 instead of Cristiano, which yeah, for Cristiano, um, it was not going to be um satisfaction that he's on the bench to players, that he
Mm-hmm.
thinks he
Of course.
knows he was better than them in the position that he was playing in. But the manager saw it otherwise, and then yeah, and then in the end it didn't work out, and then he left the club, and he gone to Al Nassr, and
Mm-hmm.
he's proving to everyone, you know,
Yes.
if you can work as a team, but let him do what he needs to do in his position because he's the best player in the world for that,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I think Manchester, we I think we missed one. We missed a big opportunity to use Cristiano in the best way that we were supposed to, but I
I
wasn't the
understand.
manager, so I couldn't make those decisions.
Of
It
course. Of course.
was the manager's call, and
I imagine that Cristiano remembers you about your days in FC Porto. You played against Cristiano, I think.
yeah, he remembers how I used to whip him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he remembered. He remembered because we used to have dialogues. We used to have quite a good relationship. Um, so we would always talk about the mentality then compared to what we were going through
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
how some of the players were in training,
Mm-hmm.
and then when we spoke, he used to speak about sporting, like how everyone was hungry,
Mm-hmm.
and you know everyone was it was the best feeling in the world to play for Sporting
Yeah.
in his generation. And now you come to Man United, you play for one of the biggest team, if not the biggest team in the world, but you see the mindset, the mentality is like, and he would just say to me like he can't understand how players are not hungry to want more
Yeah.
because you play for Man United, and Sporting was not such a big club
Mm-hmm.
because you had Porto and Benfica that was even better than Sporting, but the mindset was everyone you were playing for the best team in the world
Mm-hmm.
because you see it in training every day. And I was like at Porto, we were so competitive. We had to train with sun pads like a real match
Like a
because
real match. Yes.
the intensity was incredible. Like everyone wanted to be, if you are in the, everyone trained so hard because they wanted to be in the starting 11 on Saturday. But then you have Manchester United, who's probably more elite than both teams put together, and the way the trainings was, we just couldn't understand, So yeah, so we had nice dialogue, and I was quite sad
Mm-hmm.
what was happening to
Of
him.
course. Of course.
But like I said, I wasn't the manager, so I couldn't make change decisions, and that I just have to follow what the manager wanted, and
Of course.
and that and unfortunately, but I think through all that, um, it will still be nice, if Cristiano says, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Benny, cinco estrelas."
Cinco estrelas. Benny, as a manager, in your opinion, what can we expect of Manchester United here in Dragão next week?
I I think it's a team that have to bounce back because they played yesterday against Dutch opposition FC 20.
Hmm.
And first half, the first 45 minutes, very good. I
Hmm.
thought they were on top. They controlled the match very well. You had all the important players was was very important for the team because yeah, I think they they could have been 3-4-0 up at halftime, you know. But I think the most important was they didn't put the game to bed when they had the chance. And then second half, um, they just it's like they just stopped doing what they were doing in the first half, doing the right
Yeah.
things, you know, high press. Um, they they were moving the ball quicker for the opposition to make it
Hmm.
difficult, and then they allowed the opposition to then have counter attacks against them. And then the more FC 20 were having good moments, counter attacks, they were
Hmm.
shifting the ball much better in the second half, the more Manchester United lost confidence, and 20 then could have gone on
Incredible.
and maybe even snatched away a win, you know, at Old Trafford. And you saw the disappointment from the players, but you also saw the disappointment and the dissatisfaction from the fans that they were not happy with what they saw. So I think Manchester United against Porto, they are gonna want to do, they are gonna want to put the record straight, and they're gonna come out and try and prove. But I think it will be it will be probably gonna be the most difficult match that they will face. You know, because I know from experience as a Porto player and from watching Porto over the
Yep.
years that Porto in the Dragão is a completely different team than when they play away
Hmm.
from home. That they are more clinical. And I watched them yesterday against Bodo Glimt,
Hmm.
and I didn't recognize Porto. I
It was
didn't
terrible.
recognize them.
It
Yeah,
was terrible.
and and at first, I thought maybe that's something to do with the pitch because it was artificial pitch,
Hmm.
and it could be something that players don't like. You know, when you are used to playing on the football pitches that you have, and then you
Hmm.
have to play on an artificial pitch that's a little bit different. But I still think the quality that Porto have yesterday match was unexcusable.
Hmm.
You know, they should have done much better. The team wasn't that good for them to lose the match. But
You are
now
right. You are right.
they both have an opportunity, and I think Porto have to be so much, 100 times better than what they were yesterday
Hmm.
if they're going to beat Manchester United, which I think they can do. They can do because um, there's a lot of pressure on Manchester United at the
Hmm.
moment, you know. So and they're not in their best form. So I think it's maybe perfect time for Porto to play them. And but yeah, if they play like they did yesterday, they won't beat Manchester United. So they have to change their game plan. They have to change the mentality, the mindset.
Yep.
I didn't see a passionate, hungry Porto that that was determined to win a game. And the team at against 10 men, Porto was still struggling.
Yep.
And I found that a little bit hard. So I think, yeah, against Manchester, they have to be so much better. They
Hmm.
have to be the Porto that everyone knows them to be.
Hmm. Benny, besides Bruno and Diogo, do you like to point out any United player, a favorite one of yours?
Lisandro Martinez.
Lisandro
Lisandro,
Martinez.
Lisandro Martinez is the ideal player. He's, he loves football. He has the passion and he has the fight. And I think he's one of the best characters and he is also a player that can play in any team in the world because he has the right mindset,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So Lisandro Martinez is definitely one of those players. Rashford, if Marcus is getting back to his best, then he would be a player that can hurt Porto very much. Alejandro Garnacho,
Garnacho, yes.
very good, but at the moment he's not found his feet because he's not been playing regularly. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's problems there with the manager or if it's just choice that that he's not starting, but he's a player that can be damage to Porto if he plays, when he plays, and then also I would say another player, Ahmad Diallo,
Okay. Diallo, okay. Very well.
incredible player, like effortless quality. He works hard, he defends well, but in attack, he's very he's very composed, very comfortable. He always makes the right decisions, and yeah, he can score a lot of goals. He can score goals. So those are for me, besides Bruno and Diogo,
Mm-hmm.
those are the players I would say are the key players in Manchester United that can harm Porto. But if Porto are as good as I know they can be, and if they eliminate those players, then yeah, it could be a very successful day for Porto. Like the last time we played Porto when I was still in that team, and they can do the same to Manchester United what we did.
The stadium will be on fire for sure next week, Benny. And it's the right time to speak about that glorious night of Benny McCarthy. 25th of February in 2004, 20 years ago. It was a perfect night of football for you.
No, no, not for me.
For the
For
club, of
Portugal.
course. But
For
for
Portugal.
Portugal,
For
for the
Portugal.
country.
Because I think Manchester United was one of the favorite teams coming
Yes.
into the Champions League to to win the Champions League together with Real Madrid. I think Manchester was up there to be favorites to win
Yep.
the Champions League, and yeah, but Porto had other ideas. You know, our belief was so strong that we were never going to lose against Manchester United. So I think for this generation of Porto players, they have to believe the same. They have to have the same belief that yeah,
Mm-hmm.
their league is much better than the Portuguese league. The Premier League is elite,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, it is 11 Porto players against 11 Manchester United players. And then it's how much do you really want it? Then you have to show your quality. You have to show where you are from. You have to show all those things, and I think if they can do that,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they can be better than Manchester United because the belief in Manchester United team is not as strong. Not as strong. So Porto have a perfect opportunity to go and do more than what we did. We played a Manchester United
A
team that
very,
was
very strong United.
very strong, very elite. But on the day, you would have thought Porto was Manchester United and Manchester United was Porto because our belief was just strong. Um, and we knew the qualities that we had individually, but mostly as a team, as a family, as a unit,
That's true.
we were unbreakable. So that is where they have to go as far. They have to be together. They have to be They have to be strong. They have to, I think they just have to play for each other. You know, you have to work sometimes if it's not your side, but you have to help your teammates out. You really have to show that passion because if you show that, and then you're gonna have all the fans that's gonna get behind the team, and then it will definitely be you have an extra player because the Portuguese fan, pardon me, when that Porto fans get behind the team, there's no noise better than that. It is incredible, So I think those are what those players have to do. It must be a day that no one, Porto player or fans, will ever forget, and that's how they have to go into that match, thinking that it's going to be one of those glorious days.
Mhm. Benny, speaking about the FC Porto team, do you have a favorite player in this new squad?
I think the players that I loved, a lot of them have left the club.
Mhm.
Pepe was
Of
my
course, of
favorite
course,
because
of
he was
course.
my teammate. He was my teammate, and he was also
The eternal
somewhat.
Pep.
Yes, exactly. He identified what what it is to be a Porto player.
Mhm.
He he just had everything. He had the hunger, he had the determination, he had the fight, he had that never say die attitude, and I think that was important. That was important. Then when I watched yesterday, yes, I saw some potentials, but
Mhm.
I think they have to be much, 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 much better. Um, the striker, I don't know, what's
Samu,
his name?
Samu,
Yeah,
Samu,
the big, yeah, Samo.
Samu, Samu, Samu.
I saw there's something there. He's big, strong,
Mhm.
powerful, quickly, you know. But he 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 was dropping too deep yesterday.
Yeah.
He was fetching the ball in the midfield, and when there was opportunities where he needs to be up in the front, and so yeah, so I think he can be a problem because Martinez is not the biggest
Yeah, yeah.
defender. He's tough, so if
He's
he
much
goes
taller.
and yeah, much taller, so he'll have a little bit of upper hand against Martinez physically because he's so of his height. Um, and then you had the what you call it, um, what's the Nico Nico
Nico Gonzalez, yes.
Nico Gonzalez. I saw something a little bit Manich Manich
Of Manish,
in
yes.
there. Yeah, he's got the potential, but
He's
he
important on the team, Nico. Yesterday
yeah,
it was bad for everyone, but he's
yes,
important.
it was a team that, but if they can get Nico on the ball more often,
Mhm.
he's the player that can make things happen. Like
Mhm.
Manchester United, they have Bruno.
Yep.
Bruno is always gets on the ball, and then he's the one that dictates the play and he makes things happen for them. So I think Nico has to get more involvement, you know. And then there was what's his name? Ustashi? Ustaki?
Eustáquio, yes. The other midfielder, yes.
Yes. So I think that Porto midfield is going to be very important.
Mhm.
And then Samu he has to be in the right areas to make those opportunities to convert them because yeah, like I said, um, Manchester United is great, but they also every team scores, they concede goals against them. So it's not impossible against them. So there will be lots of opportunities for them, but then you have to be present, you know, in the right places. So I hope that Samu doesn't feel that he's not touching the ball too much, so he goes into midfield and then he leaves Porto a little bit exposed in the front areas, So yeah, so those are players, but yeah, Porto lost also very important players, I
Very,
think.
very
So
important. That's true.
People have to understand. They have to understand Porto is not going to be as strong as they were last
Hmm.
season or the season before under Sergio, because yeah, they've lost Conceição,
Hmm.
they've lost the Brazilian striker to Bournemouth,
Evan Nilsson, yes.
Ivan
Taremi,
Nils,
Taremi
Taremi to
to Inter.
Inter. So yeah, it was
It's
a lot
a
of
new
key.
cycle, a
Pepe
new cycle, Benny.
retired, so it's a new cycle exactly. So they need time. The new manager Bruno, he
Hmm.
needs time. He needs time with the squad. But I think yeah, against Manchester United, they can definitely let the people get behind them.
Hmm.
You know, if they have that desire and the hunger and the fight that people in Portugal knows what it means to play for Porto, because you have that working class mentality. You know,
Amazing,
and
amazing, Benny.
that's what the players need to rediscover.
Benny, we are almost in the end, but I have to ask you, of course, about Andre Villas-Boas, the new president, because you have memories about Andre. He was in the technical staff of Mourinho.
Yep, he was with me. He was part with me. Very nice man. Very nice man. I think humble, humble guy, and speaks to everyone. He doesn't have big ego, but that's a very Portuguese thing to have. To be humble, to
Hmm.
be kind, to be nice, and I'm extremely happy that he is in that position, because if anyone was to succeed Pinto da Costa, it has to be someone who is loved by Porto fans. It has to be someone that knows Porto inside out, because no one just no one just replaced Pinto da Costa um, with money if there's no history behind. So I
Hmm.
think Villas-Boas is perfect candidate. He's young. He's a young president, so he will have the opportunity to be there for many years, and he can definitely help the coaching staff, the technical directors, and that, because he's been an elite manager himself, so he knows, you know, also how to work in that department. So I think football-wise, Porto will be in
Hmm.
very good hands, and I just hope more success for that club to follow now with this new generation of technical department presidents of
Of
Porto,
course.
that they can take Porto back to the glory days where Porto was when I still played at Porto.
Did you get the chance to speak with Andre after he was elected?
No, I just send him a message. I just send him a message of congratulations and hugely proud, you know, from becoming a manager in Porto, and now he's the president. So I wished him all the success and all the luck. And then yeah, he just said to me, thank you, Grande Benny. Um, so that was nice. That was nice that he messaged me back
Of
to
course.
say thank you, and yeah, and all the best going forward. But I'm positive. I'm positive because he also brought back Bish Bish. So
Bicho,
I
sim, sim,
think
yes, it chose
yeah,
Bicho to Jorge Costa. Jorge Costa.
yep. So George Costa is back, and I think George Costa was the heart of Porto, and I think they need that. You need to have those people in the club that knows what it is to wear that Porto shirt. That when you talk about passion, when you talk about desire, when you talk about heart, you talk about George Costa is the iconic person that you want to have there, because he was that. And I hope that that Villas-Boas can recuperate someone like Pepe,
Mhm.
also keep him in the club, because those are the players that
Yes.
that what
Pep,
Porto
Pep
is
and Jorge
about.
Costa,
That's
incredible.
what that's what that's what Porto is about. When these young players of today, when they look at the technical team, they look at Pep, what he has achieved. They look at George Costa. Then you know. what it means to be playing for FC Porto, because these players were the definition of what it was to play when you give everything, your blood, your sweat,
Mhm.
your everything you give to the club. And so yeah, so I truly hope that Pep can still be part of Porto and they don't let him go, because it would be a sad thing to say that someone like Pep leave the club after
Mhm.
everything everywhere he's been,
Yep.
and now he's retired as a football player. So it will be nice to still see him part of in the director's box, and just for these young players to learn from and stuff. So that would be really good.
Benny, Jose Mourinho told a great story about Jorge Costa. It happened in a game in Belenenses, I think.
Yeah, yep. We were
Half time.
losing.
I don't know if you were in the dressing room in that
I
in that
was
evening.
I was there. I was
Ev-
there.
Everything is true that Mourinho told.
Um, 100% true. No lies. Um, no, we were coming in from halftime, and I think we were losing 2-0.
I
We
think
were
so.
losing.
I
Yeah,
think
we were
so.
losing. We were losing 2-0. We played good. We didn't play bad. Belenense was just perfect. They had the perfect 45 minutes, you know. And we came in, and George Costa said, Mister, agora não, agora não. Pode entrar aqui 10 minutos. Deixa nós falar primeiro, depois tu entra. And then we knew already, boom, the door closed. And then it was two filler this and fingers were pointed, and oh, it was messy. But
It was
then
hard.
we all agreed that it was needed. It was needed because we sometimes, I think, we also had to get a reminder,
Hmm.
that every team, when they play FC Porto, it is cup final for
Of
them.
course, of course.
So it's always our hardest match against every team. There's no easy matches for us because every team they play, it's a cup final to play against FC Porto. And then sometimes we forget that, and then we think, it will be okay, it will be a walk in the park. So we don't have to play 100%, against them. And then so we needed that reminder. And yeah, after 10 minutes of all the fighting and swearing um and then says Mourinho can come in. And he came in, everything okay? Okay. And he didn't even say anything to us. He didn't say nothing to the players. Good luck,
Let's go.
second half. And then we went out there and boom, we managed to draw 2-2. And George and Bish scored as well. So Bish scored, and
Amazing
and
story.
up
That's
and up
story is
and
amazing.
up until then, Bisho has not scored in the league yet. He's not scored a match. And in that day, he goes and score, and then we drew 2-2 with Belenense. And I remember, I think it was Cesar Peixoto
Cesar Peixoto,
scored.
yes.
He scored one of the goals of the season for Belenense that day. Oh,
Cesar.
what a goal! What a goal! Yeah,
He was here a couple of weeks ago, being interviewed by us, Cesar.
yeah. Next time you see him, tell him I say payaso. That's his name. That was my nickname for Cesar, o payaso.
Fantastic. Benny,
Yeah.
just two more questions. Will you be here in Porto next week to assist the game?
I will definitely try and come. I will definitely try and come to watch the game, because yeah, it's two teams that were special to me.
And it's your
As
house
a
in Portugal.
yes, as a kid when I was growing up in South Africa, I grew up supporting Manchester United. So that
Hmm.
was the team, that my childhood team.
Hmm.
But then my heart was taken over by Porto. So now it's my childhood team against the team that I love with all my heart, Porto. So yeah, so I will really try my best to come and watch the game. even if it's just to be a spectator. But I want to be there to see my two favorite teams play. But yeah, everyone knows if you cut me, my blood is not red, unfortunately. It's blue, so
It's blue.
is blue. So of course, my support will go down to Portista, Portista through and through.
Benny, the perfect final to our conversation, I think, it's to hear you speaking about your two goals against United in that evening. Like almost like a journalist, what can you tell us about those two moments to end our conversation?
Um, I'm trying to play it in my head again. I think it was the first one when we conceded from a corner kick,
Mhm.
and then United scored, and it was also one of my close friends, someone that I grew up with in
Fortune.
South Africa, Quentin Fortune. He scored the first goal, and my heart was almost broken because of all the players to score, why does it have to be someone that comes from the same country as me, that we grew up together, So that was heartbreaking, but because we were so confident, we were so comfortable on the field, I knew we were gonna come back into the game. So yeah, when we went up on the pitch, I think it was Feijão, Carlos Alberto's. He had a very good moment on the right hand side of the pitch,
Mhm.
Quinton Fortune side, and Aleni Chef made a corner run. He ran into the corner, and Carlos Alberto slipped, rolled him the ball inside, and he just body swerved, and then he turned back and he looked up and he saw it was myself and Deco that was inside the
Mhm.
the box with Gary Neville and Wes Brown from Manchester
It's
United.
Brown, yeah.
And then I was marked by Gary Neville. So then when Aleni Chef turned back, I knew exactly that he was going to cross the ball. So all I had to try and do was to try and just get a little bit in front of Gary Neville. And he is a right back.
Yep.
He's not, he's not the strongest. He's not the tallest. So he was a little bit smaller than me. So I knew I could be a little bit more physical, and I could beat him physically. And yes, I kind of just gave him a little push and then created the space for myself. And when the ball came, oh, I already licked my lips, because my eyes lit up because I couldn't believe that the opportunity that I was going to get, and I think I just kind of just volleyed it, right
Beautiful
foot,
volley.
yeah, and then boom, when it went in, oh, all I could just think about, just me scoring and eliminating the Quinton Fortune goal, because now it wasn't one South African who scored, but the other one has also scored,
What a
so
night. What a night.
and I think and that was incredible, and I think that goal just gave us a little bit more energy, and then I think Manchester, they didn't have no chance after that moment. They didn't threaten our goals very much, and then in the second half, um, we continued where we left off. We played some very good football, but also created chances, but not where clear-cut chances. We had to work hard for that, but it was still chances. If we had taken Deco, had a few chances, and then the ball was with Nuno Valente on the right,
Nuno
on the left
Valente.
on the left side. Nuno came just over, and he was looking up to see where he can put the ball. And I kind of showed him just to put it in the air, because I know me against Gary Neville and Wes Brown, I will definitely win. And also Mourinho identified that
Mhm.
if we have to try and play the ball in the air, because Benny will beat them in the air, in the head. And when Nuno, when he played a long ball, like, and the ball was coming floating in the air, but never in a million years did I think that it was going to go in, because I think it was so far away from the goal,
Yes,
on
yes,
the just outside the box,
yes.
the 18 area. So when the ball just floated, I saw Tim Howard, the goalkeeper, was a little bit he was a little bit off his line.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I jumped with Wes Brown and Gary Neville, the two of them, they both jumped, and I kind of just leaped a little bit over them, and then got connect nice with the head. And as I hit it, I kind of just looked, and I landed, and the ball was just boom, like a rocket
Beautiful,
after
beautiful.
it left my head. And oh, it went in the top corner of the goal. And the celebration, I went wild, celebrating with the crowd. And that after the celebration, I couldn't even believe, because the night before the match, Mourinho came to our rooms. He comes, and then, yeah, how you feeling? You okay? You ready for tomorrow? And he came to me and Carlos Alberto's. We were sharing roommates, and he came to our room, and then he says, "We going to kill Manchester United tomorrow." And then he said to me, "Manny, two. I only want two goals, and then I
Incredible,
take you off. I take you off, so you can get the standing ovation from the crowd, because
incredible.
of an incident that happened just before when we played. I think it was Guimarães. We had match against Guimarães, and
Okay,
I was taken out of the team because there was a problem with myself and Pinto da Costa.
okay.
You know,
I
so
don't remember that. I don't remember that.
because people say I was out. I was out on the night before we played Guimarães
Guimarães
in Vigo,
in Vigo.
which was not true. Which was not true. I went to a birthday, but I asked Mourinho about it, and he said it was fine. But I must
Okay.
just make sure that I don't come back like late.
Yes.
So I
Too
was,
late.
I,
Yes. Too late.
yeah.
Yes.
So I was back. I was back 12 o'clock midnight. Then I was back in Porto, and so it was fine. But people, they said to Pinto da Costa, because he had spies everywhere
Every.
in Porto. Like, if I come from Vigo past the Piage,
Yes.
and then,
Someone
oh,
was
McCarthy,
writing the
yes,
Benny just passed
oh,
here.
oh, McCarthy, pá, estás a fazer aqui esta hora, pá. And then they said, I was out in Vigo in the nightclubs or whatever. And so then there was that little problem that we had. So the match against Guimarães, they said, that I mustn't play.
Okay.
So I was
Okay.
then Mourinho took me out, and I was on the bench. But he said to me against Manchester that he will play me, because he knows that I spoke to him about it,
Hmm.
and he said it was fine. And now they made a big thing about me being in Vigo, but Mourinho knew, because I
Hmm.
I asked him, and he was okay with it. And for me, that was the most important.
Yep.
I
Of
speak to
course.
the manager, and if he says it's okay, Benny, but make sure that you are back a certain time for the curfew, and that was it. So we were fine. But then Pinto da Costa, he was like, his spies said this and that, and then it became a big thing. So then I was also not meant to play against Manchester United, but Mourinho said, I'm going to play. So he said to me, just two goals, and I take you off. I take you off, so that everyone can give me applause and that. And I think that will make Pinto da Costa, and then
Yeah.
I think, hey, Mourinho, I'm the boss, not the president,
A
to say
perfect
that
comeback.
so it was the perfect comeback. Yeah. So that was the situation. And then, yeah, it was perfect.
Beautiful. Benny, can we say goodbye in Portuguese?
Claro que sim, mano.
Benni,
Bah,
muito obrigado. Foi ótimo falar contigo. Só peço que deixes uma mensagem para os portistas, para quem gosta do Porto e para quem vai ver o jogo contra o Manchester United.
hum, primeiro quero agradecer-te por falar comigo e fazer uma entrevista comigo. Muito obrigado para isso.
Obrigado.
E segunda, para os portistas, eu estou com muitas saudades do Porto e, e também desejo o equipo todo o melhor para o jogo da Manchester. Os adeptos têm que apoiar o equipo com toda a força e espero que as coisas vão correr muito bem e Porto vai, vai poder ganhar o jogo dois com dois golos contra Manchester. Muita sorte para o jogo e um grande abraço para todo mundo.
Obrigado, Benni. Muito obrigado. Fui a entrevista com
Prazer.
Benni McCarthy, uma glória azul e branca, um jogador que conhece muito bem também o Manchester United. Podem ver a entrevista toda em vídeo, podem lê-la também no nosso artigo escrito, em vários artigos escritos, e nas redes sociais, obviamente, teremos também muitos cortes desta conversa maravilhosa com o Benni McCarthy. Benni, um grande abraço, tudo bom para ti e para a tua
Muito,
família.
muito obrigado, Pedro. Grande abraço para ti também.
Obrigado.
Tchau, tchau, tchau.